from Sister Amalina from ICO. It is a hard question for me to compare between Malaysia and Indonesia in terms of combating the corruption, because in Malaysia I study constitutional law, not criminal law, but I may give a little bit comments on both country comparison in terms of combating the corruption. First of all, I think before the political reform in Indonesia, Indonesia learned a lot from the BPR Malaysia, Badan Pencegah Rasuah Malaysia. Even though after that, after a few years that we have KPK, Anti-Corruption Commission, then the BPR came to Jakarta to learn from the KPK. Because in Southeast Asia countries, actually KPK of Indonesia is considered as a much progress of the Anti-Corruption Commission, rather compared to other anti-corruption commission in other countries in Southeast Asia. But I think that's good. Both countries learn each other how to combat the corruption. But in detailed data, how many corruptors that arrested in Malaysia, how many arrested in Indonesia? In Indonesia I can tell the data, but in Malaysia I don't know. But in terms of the problem, I think Malaysia has less problem than Indonesia. Why? Because Malaysia, the government is easier to control the country, since the country is a small country with small population, of course with small also legal apparatus and bureaucracy, right? But the problem of Indonesia is one of the largest population countries in the world. One of the huge country. Even I mentioned to my student in class that Spain is only equal to the West Java Island, West Java province. So the governor of West Java equal to the Prime Minister of Spain, because the number of population are the same, you know. So how big? So moreover, if you compare to the particular countries in Europe, which is only with a small number of population, sometimes only a few hundred of population, like Norway. This country Norway is one of the welfare country, right? In Norway is the society, the citizens are very prosperous, and it is called as a welfare state. But Norway is a country with a small number of population, only few hundred of population. So easy to manage and to control, to distribute the human resources and the budget. But Indonesia, again, this is not for justification that we blame the number of population, of course, but I just want to show you that this create a problem. It is not easy for the government. Moreover, we have the centralized government that sometimes even the government can control the island outside of the Java Island. Therefore, we defeated the Malaysian. We lost the Sepadan kita because we never exploit, we never manage the islands, and the Malaysian government manage the islands, and based on customary international island law. So who conquer and exploit the island? He owns the islands, right? Suppose we didn't manage the island. So this is why how can we manage the corruption case in a huge country like Indonesia? It is one of the big problem in Indonesia. But I think we should not be very pessimistic to see this problem. I think from this action, from today's conference, we may formulate particular action that we can contribute our best for eradicating the corruption. Inshallah, it's a very generation in our country, in Malaysia, in Indonesia. We are really fight for against the corruption. Inshallah, step by step. Maybe we cannot change very fast. Sometimes we change very fast, they change also fastly. if we change step by step and the changes could be sustained. Is it right, Ustaz? Is it right? Itu kaedahnya begitu. Ya, kadang-kadang begitu. We have problem with now we have a local autonomy. Okay. Before the reform, the corruption were centralized in Jakarta. Because 70% of our budget, our national budget, in Jakarta. Therefore, any graduate from any faculties came to Jakarta for getting job, right? A graduate in region, in province, it seems that they never able to survive in the region, in the province. If you want to survive rich, you have to go to Jakarta. Because of what? Because 70% of our national budget in Jakarta. Therefore, people come to Jakarta. Now we have what we call as regional autonomy, decentralization program. We put the central government give more authority to the region at the level of the region and the municipalities. Decentralization, local autonomy. But in fact, the local autonomy, decentralization also followed by decentralization of corruption. The bureaucrat, the leader in provinces and municipalities and regions said that, why not we corrupt in our region rather than corrupt by people in Jakarta? Keep balance. So what happened today is there is diaspora of corruption from Jakarta. In Jakarta, still the corruption is still exists, but now there is decentralization of corruption in the province, in the municipalities as well as the region. Therefore, in my opinion, KPK never able to cover this because the country is too huge. Therefore, the KPK just to supervise the police and prosecutor, force them to do the job, and prosecutor and police are in the province, right? But it is not easy also. For me, if I'm a president, as if I'm president, you are the Minister of International Affairs, I will appoint the chief police and the chief prosecutor, attorney general with the special requirement. If they cannot reform the institution within 1 year, I replace him. I move to another person. I appoint you being a chief police and prosecutor. If you fail 1 year to reform your institution, your apparatus, I replace again. Yes, 5 years, 5 attorney and 5 chief police is okay. But this situation will force them to be more serious in combating the corruption, starting from reform the legal apparatus. How can we sweep the floor with the dirty what? How we cannot? Tidak mungkin menyapu, membersihkan itu dengan sapu yang kotor. Is it not? Yes. So I think I think this is our big agenda, and you are from political science, from IGOF. Hopefully you will one of the front line of the activists to fight against corruption later in Solver. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Pak Iwan. When we talk about the amount of the corruption of Indonesia, I remember about the story also when I studied in Switzerland. My friends from UK just taught me why the corruption is very big in Indonesia. I said because Indonesia is very big to be big, and he said it is not justification. I said you don't know that Indonesia is archipelagic country and the borders all is oceans, and they said oh we don't know about that ones. Sometimes people doesn't know what the problem inside Indonesia, but you know, even that if you ask the presidents, do we have a time to go around Indonesia? I'm not sure. Because so many islands of Indonesia. If you compare with Singapore, Singapore is only a part of Jawa Timur. Very small. Yeah. Or Malaysia. Yeah, former part of Malaysia actually. And it is comparing to Yogyakarta. Yogyakarta is the smallest city, the smallest province in Indonesia. I think Singapore is very small, right? You cannot compare with Borobudur or Prambanan. It's similar with Lion. What is the Merlion? Something like that. There is only Merlion also. If you go to Singapore, you just see Merlion and also what is another one, Universal Studio. But in Yogyakarta, you may see Parangtritis, you may see Borobudur, Prambanan, everything. Malioboro, blah blah, something like that. You can compare. I think that's all for the keynote speech for today. Thank you very much for Pak Iwan and also for all the participants and all the lecturers. After this, we will have discussions limited to divided into rooms. This one would be the first room, the second, and the third room, and will be led also by the students as the chairmen. And thank you very much once again. Just give an applause to everyone. And also, I don't want to invite you to give me applause also. Thank you very much. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.